How's it going, everybody? Welcome back again into the farmland in our single player world, which is looking more and more full by the day. Today is no exception because we're going to be putting in a giant windmill and also doing a little bit of planning. You see, I've got a new area designated for our future building, and that's going to be a pretty quick one right over here. It's this little piece on the map. You can see it if I look that way. That's what we're looking at. And I've got some cool plans for that. I'm definitely not giving anything away. But one of the big things, which I think will be, it seems like a big job, but it's not really a big job. Kind of like building the mountain that we built last time in the last episode. If you didn't even realize we built like a little mountain. Yeah, that's exactly it. It seems like a big job because it's physically big, but it's actually not that big. However, today is a bit of a big job, and I'm a little bit nervous of it because right over here is, well, right over there, that's where we're going to be building our windmill. And there are a few things which I'm a little bit scared of. One of the things that I'm quite scared of is that I've got a plan for one that is fairly simple. Wait, okay, never mind. I realize we've got a whole bunch of oak in our other storage, thank goodness. And I think I did. Let me just look up here. Yeah, we've got fish, and there we go. Some of that. Now, as far as I'm aware, I've done a very basic build of this in a creative world, like in terms of colors and stuff. It's very basic, and I plan on doing a fairly basic design of this windmill, and then hopefully we can start tweaking things and getting them looking more and more like what we would hope that they would look like. And also, of course, we got to make sure we've got the heights right, and we've got all these other things working together. Now, just hold up for a second. Is it me? It might not be very obvious when you're looking at this on a video, but there are these little lines there. Can you guys see that? I don't know if that's just me, but I think it's just at these weird angles. I noticed them a bit earlier. There's been an update to the game that I've just updated. Like, I opened it up and it's like, hey, we're gonna update it. Go for it. I don't really mind. As long as the blocks are there, I'll work with it. So right up here, this is where we're gonna be building it. And I think the peak of it should be at the peak of this little mountain over here. So right over this cliff, I think will be where we'll have the big tower holding the blade. And then of course, out around here, we'll have a barn. We'll have maybe a little bit of an area for where the person who, what they be called? A mill operator, where they would stay. There's a whole bunch of stuff which we have to do for this. And I think it's going to turn out quite well. The main reason why I am pretty all right with doing a basic design, even though I'm a little bit scared of it, is because, of course, the basic design can be very boring, but the stuff around it can be what brings it together. So for instance here, bam, basic build. The trees kind of work it in. I do still want to do a bit more to this. I think this looks plain, but that's a whole other story for another day. I think we've about figured out the height that we want, and it seems pretty tall from up here, and I'm a bit worried that I'm going too tall. As I say, I'm very scared about this project. I have a very sneaky suspicion that it might not turn out exactly the way that I have planned, but hey, you know what? I'm down with a bit of a challenge. In fact, that's actually the way a lot of these things end up working, is I started off ready, feeling good, and then all of a sudden something kind of turns a little bit more to poop, and then it works in the end. So I don't know why I haven't learned yet. Let's go have a look at this from a bit of a distance. We'll get ready for it. Okay, oh, dang it. All right, we're going to have to do another run of this anyway, so it's not a big deal. The thing that I'm hoping is going to be really cool is I want to take a little bit of stuff from here. And of course, as I say, we're going to be going up to fix this at some stage in the future. But you see how we've got these sorts of things where we've got a distinct way of building these walls. We've got these fake supports holding up pieces of the wall. I really like the look of that, and I would like to play with it over here, and that's what we're going to try and do. So for starters, what I was hoping to do was get the base up, and then we can start adding in those little bits and pieces of the color, the decoration. And this over here, let's just see the height that we want. Maybe around there, we would say, would be where these rocks, which is kind of the foundational cement that's going to be holding it. So we'll get this foundation piece in here, and we might just put it a little bit higher than what we have there. And then we can start off with the stuff that I was hoping to do. So we can make that the floor level. Yeah. And then everything under that will be basic foundation. And then everything above it will be, hopefully, good looking stuff. All right, so here's what I'm thinking, because of course it's going to be similar, but the colors are going to be different. I want to get in a bit of this stuff over here, smooth sandstone. I also wanted to use, of course, oak as the wooden block, which I think is probably obvious by now, but if not, it is now. And I want to also hopefully get a little bit of texturing in these blocks. So for instance, the smooth sandstone looks pretty darn good when it's got a bit of normal sand mixed in with it, maybe even sandstone mixed in, but I think that would be maybe a little bit too harsh. Let's just try this. What about one block there? We do something like this and another block here, which might pull together. It probably won't, but let's hope that it does something cool. Yeah, I think we might have, that will work. I think we just have to get rid of that top one. And then over here, this is where I was hoping to do the sandstone. And can I just do that? What is this called? Smooth sandstone. That's it. So this is where we'll start putting in the smooth sandstone on top of this. And here is where I think we could have problem number one, which is this very, I guess, plain color texture might be a bit too bright though. So it is quite plain and boring, but it might be too bright as well. So let's go out there and ender pearl without breaking my crops, hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna land right there. Oh, no, a bit short. And we didn't break the crops. I think that color works. It's probably close enough to what I was hoping for. The only thing now is when the blades come in, I think it'll break it up even more. And it's uphill from there. Plus also this little bit of cement that we put in here, well, the cobblestone, that works pretty well. So this place is starting to actually look pretty darn good. But while we're busy building this, because I need to fill in this wall on that side over there, but also, by the way, we had to go a little bit taller, but we'll work that out at the end. But what I thought I'd do is give a little bit of an update on two things. The first thing is, if I sound a bit more scratchy, I've currently got a cold, so that could be the reason why I sound a bit more horrible in this video, despite the fact that I feel like I'm sounding alright. But that's just a little bit of a heads up. And the other thing is to do with how frequent the videos have been, which, as far as I can tell, everything seems to be getting itself back in order and should hopefully have them all returning very, very soon to a fairly frequent upload schedule again, which is great because it's been a little bit of time that we haven't had them too regular, and I think it's definitely something I am looking forward to getting the ball rolling on again. So that is just a little bit of a heads up that, of course, I sound a little bit weird. That's usual. I do sound weird, but I sound a little bit extra weird. And of course, when we will hopefully be getting everything back on track, and of course streams as well, which is going to be super exciting. I've definitely missed just getting out and about. Although, in saying that, just because I haven't done a little bit of an update on videos in a while, what do you guys think of that new little thing that pops up at the bottom? I've got some new cool stuff that's, well, artwork, I guess, or graphics, I think is the right way to say it. Cool new graphics, and I've got a whole bunch more that I want to add into videos and a few other things in the future, but that's just the first one that I've been testing out, just seeing if it was looking good, if it was horrible, you know how it is, but I quite like it. All right, the whole place has changed a lot, and that is because we're not in the normal world. We have gone back to my second ever survival world, and I thought I'd just do a quick throwback because I think it's quite good to get a little bit of a throwback here. So these are my giant wheat fields, a little bit bigger than what we've got currently, and yes, I did till all of this, and it's a ridiculous amount of wheat. I actually am quite interested in how many seeds we have planted, so I might check that out a little bit later. But I wanted to just show you guys what the second windmill that I ever built looked like. And here it is here, and it's definitely a lot more three-dimensional, and it's also got a lot more stuff in it. But where this one works a little bit better in that respect is the fact that everything's a lot bigger, which means we can make this a lot bigger and of course get a lot more detail in it. So that's where we are with this one. Although I really like the look of this one, and of course I really think the one that we're currently building is going to look good in its own right. So this is the second iteration I've ever had of one, and I thought I'd just give you guys a little bit of a view on it. Now, while we're over here, I'm going to get that number of how many seeds I've planted, and then I'm going to go over to the first world, which is the very first world that I had on YouTube, and we also did a windmill there, and that's probably one of my favorite original buildings, and you'll get what I mean when we go there. The number was 19,047 seeds, which is absolutely nuts for how many I've placed there, which is pretty crazy. Here we go. and here is my very first windmill. And you can see what I mean about it being original. It's a little bit of a windmill. When I look at it, I almost get castle feelings from it. I think it's actually quite interesting. It's surprising that I got away with it. And if you watched the very early series, which is ages ago, like that was, I think, 2 years, maybe even more ago, that was what we built. And it definitely is its own thing. And I do love it for its own things. But of course, it's way, way, way too big. And the other thing with this, just with this area, which I thought was pretty cool, is just how close this looks to what we currently are doing with all the different crops. We've got beetroot, which I think was just recently added there. We tried to do a sunflower one, which didn't work out quite as good, but it was a good little test, a good little bit of practice. But right over there, that's just what I wanted to show you guys. And the most important part about both of these is the blades that we used were full blocks. In this one here, we did not have any trapdoors. In the previous world, we did have we did have just the normal trapdoors in both of these. But now we've got trapdoors, and that's where I think we're going to start off with our current blades. So this is where I think we're going to start putting in the blades. And you can see right over there, that's where I hope that we'll have the little, I don't know what it would be like, the nose. It's almost like blades are like the nose and the mustaches coming off the blades are. But that little piece there is going to be where we're going to pull this out maybe 3 blocks, because I want 1 block gap. And yeah, maybe 2 blocks. We'll just go out 2 blocks there. We'll put the blades in. And this is where scaffolding would be super useful, because we got to build from there and build down. But we don't have access to going down with scaffolding, because of course, scaffolding requires a lot of string and a lot of, I think we can use sticks, but bamboo and a few other things. So we don't have that luxury right now. But what I want to do is I want to pull that out there, and I've got these trapdoors right over here. In fact, maybe we can just do one up there, because we've got one idea of how we're going to be doing this. Let's see if I can get a lucky pearl up to the top there. All right, one too many. Can I get out of here? Why can I not break that? There we go. Thank goodness. There. It was kind of lucky. Didn't quite work out as planned, but hey, I think that is really what luck is. So right over here, this is what I've done. And this is why I did this in a creative world, because getting these right and having to go and redo everything all the time is a real pain in the butt. And from that first world, I definitely should have learnt my lesson. But if I remember correctly, I don't think I quite learnt my lesson well enough when I built the second one either. So in this one, I did definitely learn my lesson. I said to myself, you know what? We'll get this right in creative, and then we'll go on from there and we'll get the next piece. Why did that not flick up that I was crouching? Should it have? Maybe if I... Has that always been a thing, that you can't open that with crouching? I mean, gosh, I've played this game so much and I'm asking these questions, but I think it's a fair question right there. So I'm going to fill this in, and I'm going to be using these birch trapdoors along with the oak trapdoors. And there is a very good reason to that, and that is the fact that they will add a nice little bit of a backing to it, and hopefully also keep this a lot more accurate looking, where previously we used those really big blocks being blocks of wool on both of them, but now we have these, so we may as well give these a go. And if they don't work, guess what? We've already got 2 designs of blocks that, full blocks that work as blades. But I actually, from this little bit of an angle here, I think this is going to work for us. I realize that this is not going to work because I haven't quite finished it right, but I want to have a look at just what it looks like. But before we do that, I've got a guy visiting me over here, and this is a brand new wandering trader. And I'm not 100% certain how they work, but there's a little bit of suspicion from me, and I'm sure this is most certainly understood, but of course I didn't actually keep up with how these things work. So as far as I'm aware, there must be a spot around here which these guys are meant to be able to spawn in, and they seem to spawn right in there and yeah, go straight for my door for some reason until eventually they disappear. I don't know when, I don't know where, but they just go and then a new one comes. It's very, very strange. But here we go. This is of course not finished because I want a nice shape to these, but that's kind of the idea of what we're looking at. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't clash too much. But if you ask me, that looks pretty darn good. And also, if you ask me a little bit of a hint for blades like this, if you have a look at this, right, that one goes up. In fact, I wish I had Optifine so I could zoom in. But if you have a look, let's just go over here and demonstrate it. If If you go up 2 blocks there, 2 blocks, 2 blocks, say for instance you were going bigger, you could keep going 2 blocks, 2 blocks, 2 blocks, or however many blocks, but make sure one side is bigger. And then this one, we're going to go 1 block up, even though that one there, we're going to fill in, and then go another one, and then go another one. And what that's going to do is that's going to get this nice long shape here with a more kind of smoother shape on the other side. And it'll all make sense when I'm done with this, of course, but that's just the trick, so to speak, that I've found that doesn't make these look so boxy and also doesn't make them look completely silly. Hey, so we're almost there, and I found myself lying around here, not doing too much really, and I don't know how I got myself in this situation, but that is the situation that I'm in right now. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update because, of course, this thing is starting to take a bit more shape right now. And by the way, I fell through the block and landed like that. I've got absolutely no idea how that happened, but that's all right. What I have done is I've gone ahead and got a whole bunch of this built, and we did end up having to do a little bit more work. For instance, I made these bigger than I originally did, so I've already gone around, made them one size, and now I'm going around and completing the upgrade. I'm really liking that. I think that's going to look cool. Just imagine that we've got a little bit of a hat on that thing, but eventually we will have that. But look at this from the side. This is where I think it looks really cool because the whole point of using the trapdoors over the normal blocks is that they make it a lot more slimmer, a lot more lower profile. So for instance, coming up there, look at that. It doesn't have like that fat look to it that the others have. It's got a very, very thin look to it, and I really like that. That's what I've hoped for ages. As a matter of fact, I was actually very tempted, and I know a lot of people have their opinions on this, but I was very tempted to use diorite because I had as I say, I was trying a few designs of like angled ones, then I went through a diorite design, and this was in a creative world, of course, and I got this really awesome slope. Like, it was so cool, and the only problem with it was that we don't have vertical half slabs. So when it looked really good on one direction, for instance, that one, on this one, it ended up not working because, for instance, where that one goes 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, this one goes 2 vertical, 2 vertical, 2 vertical, and, well, 2 horizontal, sorry, then yeah, it kind of falls flat on its face. But that's a bit of an annoying thing. Also, those traders and stuff, I found another bunch that spawned right on top of that. And then when I went to go get some stuff from the other side, I came back and I've got 2 leads. So any guesses on what happened there? I don't know. But I hope we see some more of those guys sometime soon. I think these are looking pretty darn good. Now, those things are back again. These little marks over here, you can see them everywhere. Very, very weird. They're just weirding me out all of a sudden. Maybe they've been there and I'm just completely unobservant of that. But I tend to figure out pretty weird things. But look at that. Looks so good. I want to give one more look just because, you know, we've got this direction which we're walking in from, and I love it. Like, picture the villagers walking, well, to this port which once was here, but taking their carts around here, goes over the bridge when it's working, of course. It's seen better days, but let's think about it, right? It's going here. You will eventually have a lot of trees there, so you shouldn't see that. But let's just imagine the path. When we work it out, it'll go around here and then go down this way. Oh yeah, look at that. Just coming in there. Let's just walk it again. Just coming into view. And how well does this area feel closed up? Okay, maybe a little bit weird from there, but yeah. That is awesome. I like that. Now, it's missing one thing. Of course, we're going to be doing a barn and all that stuff, but the barn actually could be probably more interesting than building an actual windmill, to be honest. There's a lot more stuff which we can do on that, but right here, let's just go up to the top and give this thing a bit of a roof because it looks a bit plain. It looks a bit silly without a roof on it, and I think that will just cap it off quite literally and cap it off completely just because I think it'll be the end of the windmill, which is great. For this, I think what we'll do is we'll go out here. We're just going to freestyle this roof and see what we can come up with, but I want it to be fairly simple, but maybe a little bit more interesting than just one of those. We'll see how we go with this, but I think something like this, we'll take some of these and get a good little base at the bottom here going. Something like that, maybe. No, not like that. And get a good little bit of a trim to work with, and then from there we'll work it out completely, and then maybe something like that, and like this. So that's a good base for us to start with, and then of course we want to go up to how tall we need it in the middle, so we'll just go up with these temporarily, and Yeah, maybe up to here. So that's a good marker for us, at least, to work out exactly where we want this roof to stop at. So something like that there. And yeah, we'll have to go in one like this. So pretty simple. And then all I'm going to do now is just work in all the blocks in the middle. So for instance, go out here, another block there, and another block there. And we'll just work out these blocks in the middle, which should be fairly simple. Duplicate it over the other side and we'll have a good looking roof. All the roof is now done. Let's go have a look from it. Oh, dang it. I caught myself in the middle of that. Still couldn't help it. Let's go that way. By the way, the crops have, you might not notice it, but they've definitely taken a beating today. That looks pretty darn good. I'm very, very happy with that. I had to do a little bit of something to the roof, and actually let's go take a look from out on this side. But we did run into a little bit of a problem, which I realized that I realized, but did not realize, which actually makes sense because I realized previously that to do the roof overhanging a little bit, we would need to have the blades one more block out. So the roof would be coming out one block, but the blades would have to go one block because else they're going to intersect over there. So actually this will probably be a good view for it. Let's just stop there. Oh, what a beautiful shot. Over there, you see how it's kind of cut short on either side? It's not a big deal, but it is kind of a little bit of a deal. But either way, I don't think it's a big problem because what's going to happen is I'm going to put another little bit of a house piece on this side, probably about as wide as what this is currently over here. So it looks like it's built on. And then also on the other side, we'll have the barn built on the other side. So it's going to be a bit more complicated, in which case the roof won't even be that bad. And the super straight line on each side will be hardly noticeable because, of course, we'll have another building there. We'll have another building on the other side. This part over here is going to be the future harbor of the big city that will be going in the middle there. But that's a whole big project. And of course, that'll be something we'll tackle at that stage. Of course, I've done a little bit of the cliff side here. While I was busy doing it, I was just messing around with that just to use up all the blocks that I had in my inventory. But we'll get to that in the future. There's a lot of stuff still to do. But for today, that will be our job complete and completed, I think, fairly decently. You can even see we've done a bit of the texturing. I'll go ahead and put a bit of andesite in with those over there, and then it'll be perfect on the spot. And of course, just waiting for the rest of the stuff to come in, the barn and the house. But for today, of course, that will be the episode. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you very, very soon.